Stories buried in darkness.
There is a moment that every single person in these stories describes the exact same way. Not the moment they saw something. Not the moment they heard something. The moment before. The moment their body knew, before their brain caught up. That feeling of being observed, studied. In the one place you were supposed to be safe. Story 1. I live alone. I want to start there, because it matters. I've lived alone for 3 years in a one-bedroom apartment on the second floor of a building that has maybe 12 units total. I know my neighbors. I know their schedules. I know the sounds my building makes at night, and which ones mean nothing, and which ones I've never been able to explain. It started with my bathroom. Specifically, my bathroom mirror. I have one of those medicine cabinet mirrors, the kind that swings open on a hinge. Every morning I'd come in, and it would be angled slightly differently than I left it. Not wide open. Not obviously moved. Just off. By maybe 15 degrees. The first few times, I assumed I'd moved it myself and forgotten. By the 6th time, I started leaving it at a very specific angle, so specific I'd remember. The next morning, it was different. I checked my windows. All locked. I checked my front door. Locked. I walked every inch of that apartment, opened every closet, looked under the bed, and found nothing. I told myself it was the building settling. I told myself a lot of things that year. 2 months in. I came home from work on a Thursday evening, and something stopped me in the doorway. I couldn't name it immediately. It was a smell. Faint. Unfamiliar. The specific smell of another person's skin in a space where only your skin should exist. You know that smell. You've walked into a room someone just left and caught it. That's what it was. Except no one should have just left my apartment. I called my building super. He came up, walked around, found nothing. Said maybe a maintenance worker had come through for something and forgotten to log it. He said it with the specific confidence of someone who wanted to go back downstairs. That night, I put a piece of tape across the inside of my front door frame. Low enough that you wouldn't notice it, high enough that any movement would break it. I went to work the next day. I came home. The tape was broken. I moved out inside of 2 weeks. I never found out who had a key. I never found out how many times they'd been inside. I never found out what they were doing in there. I don't let myself think about that last one for very long. Story 2. For true stories of people who realized they were being watched in their own home. My house has a long driveway. About 60 feet from the road to the garage, with trees on either side that my wife always said made it feel private, and I always said made it feel dark. We compromised. We kept the trees. This was before I understood what was using them. It was a Tuesday in February. I was working from home, sitting at my desk in the room we used as an office, which faces the side yard. Around 2 in the afternoon, I looked up from my screen for no reason. Just one of those involuntary glances. And there was a man standing at the edge of the tree line. Just standing there. Facing the house. He was maybe 40 feet from my window. Dark jacket, hangs at his sides, completely still. I stood up from my desk, and by the time I was fully standing, he was gone. back into the trees. Like he'd seen me see him, and decided that was enough for today. I told my wife. She suggested it was a neighbor cutting through. Our property doesn't connect to any neighbor's property through that tree line. I didn't push it. 3 days later. Same window. Same time of day. Different position. Closer. He was standing maybe 25 feet from the house now. Same jacket. Same stillness. This time, I didn't stand up. I sat completely still at my desk, and I watched him, the way he was watching me. For 4 minutes, he didn't move. Then he turned, slowly, and walked back into the trees. I installed cameras that weekend. Motion activated, covering the driveway, the side yard, the back. The first alert came at 2:17 a.m. on a Wednesday. I picked up my phone and opened the app, and the side yard camera had triggered. The footage was 11 seconds long. It showed the tree line. And at the very edge of the frame, just barely, a figure. Standing in the same spot. In the middle of the night. Facing my house. Facing the window of the room where my wife and I were sleeping. The police came. Found nothing. Suggested it might be a curious neighbor, or kids. The camera triggered 6 more times over the next 2 weeks. Always between 1 and 3 a.m. Always the same spot. Always facing the bedroom window. Then, it stopped. No reason. No explanation. Just stopped. My wife sleeps fine now. I still check the app. Every night, before I close my eyes. Story 3. I need to tell you what kind of person I am before I tell you this story. I'm a skeptic. I don't believe in ghosts. I don't believe in the paranormal. I believe in evidence, and I believe in logic, and I spent 15 years as an engineer, which means I believe in systems. I'm telling you that because what I'm about to describe has no system. And it has no explanation that I, a person who has spent 15 years looking for them, have ever been able to find. My house is a ranch style. Single story. 3 bedrooms. I lived there alone since my divorce 4 years ago. The 3rd bedroom I use as a home office. It has one window that looks out onto the backyard, and a closet I use for filing. In November of last year, I started noticing that my filing closet door was open. Not every day. Maybe twice a week. I close it every time I leave the room. It's a habit. The door was opening by itself. I checked the hinge. Tight. I checked the latch. Fine. I checked for drafts, for vibrations from passing traffic, for anything that would cause a latch door to swing open on its own. Nothing. I set up my laptop camera facing the closet one afternoon, hit record, and left the house for 3 hours. I came back and watched the footage. For 2 hours and 40 minutes, nothing. Then the closet door opened. Slowly. Smoothly. The way a person opens a door when they're trying not to make noise. There was nothing visible behind it. No draft. No movement in the room. Just the door, swinging open, as if someone on the other side had decided it was time. I watched that footage 11 times. On the 12th time, I noticed something I had missed. In the window behind the closet, in the backyard, there was a shape. Standing at the back fence. facing the house, present in the frame for exactly as long as it took for that door to open. I have an explanation for the shape of the fence. I do not have an explanation for the door. What I have is the footage. And the footage does not care what I believe. Story 4. This is the one I almost didn't submit. Not because it's the worst thing that happened, but because of how it ended. I was 17. Home alone on a weeknight, parents at a work dinner, younger brother at a friend's house. I was in the living room watching TV, a completely ordinary, completely unremarkable Tuesday night. Around 9 o'clock, I got the feeling. You know the one. I've heard other people describe it, and they always say the same thing. It's not a sound, it's not a sight, it's a pressure. Like the air in the room changes weight. I looked at the window across from the couch. The curtains were open. It was dark outside. And there was a face in the window, looking in. I didn't scream. I think I stopped breathing. The face was there for maybe 5 seconds, and then it dropped, like whoever it was had crouched down below the window ledge. I called my dad. He told me to lock the doors and call the police, which I did. The police came, checked the perimeter, found no one. But outside the window, in the garden bed underneath it, there were footprints. Deep ones. The kind that come from standing in the same spot for a long time. The officer asked me if I had any idea who it might be. I said no. But 3 days later, my mom mentioned that the man 2 houses down had asked her very casually whether I was often home alone in the evenings. She didn't think anything of it when he asked. She told me about it like it was a funny coincidence. I didn't tell her what I was thinking. But I never sat in that living room with the curtains open again. Some people watch houses. Some people watch the people inside them. And some of them are close enough that you'd recognize the name if I said it out loud.